think for Biden supporters out there and people out there that are just anti-Donald Trump supporters, you want to see more of that from Joe Biden, and I think he's starting to show that. So, again, he's on stage for 90 minutes, and a black woman in the crowd asked him about the talk that black parents have to have with their kids when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to racism. And I actually thought it was a really good question because I think these talks are happening in society every single day. So have a listen to this.
Very few white parents have to turn and say to their kid, once they get their license, make sure if you're pulled over, put both hands on top of the wheel. Don't reach for the glove box. Make sure you do whatever the police officer says. The vast majority of police are decent, honorable people. One of the things I've found is the only people who don't like bad cops more than we don't like them are police officers. And so what we have to do is we have to have a much more transparent means by which we provide for accountability within police departments. As President of the United States, what I will do, I will nationally bring together police chiefs, police officers, the union people, the African-American leadership, the communities, the brown communities, the civil rights leaderships, to sit at the table and agree on basic fundamental things that have to be done.
I think that is so important. And those are the issues that are facing this country right now. And I thought Joe Biden answered the question probably best he could. What's the best thing we can do as a society right now? Get the black leaders together. Get the police officers together. Get everybody together, and let's really, instead of bickering with one another and arguing with one another, let's listen to one another as leaders. Get those black leaders together with law enforcement. Let's try to figure out concerns and solutions. It has to start there, right? Has to start there. Because there are issues on both sides, and I talk about this all the time. We both talk about this all the time on the show, and I try to be as fair as possible. It's not a one-way street here. Yes, there are issues in law enforcement. Yes, there are issues of police brutality. But on the other side of things, you have to comply with police and you have to act appropriately. So there are issues on both sides, and there are fair questions that are raised on both sides. Let's get these reasonable people together. Let's get law enforcement together with the black leaders and their concerns. Let's get to the table, and let's start getting this stuff done. Let's try to come up with answers. And that's what Joe Biden is saying, and I could not agree with him more. You know, going on Twitter and putting a video of a black man pushing a white woman into a subway, which is what Donald Trump did, and this incident happened like almost 2 years ago, doing stuff like that is not going to bring people together. It's just not. I don't care whether you're Antifa or you're in a Trump caravan. Praising either one is not going to bring people together. And by the way, Joe Biden yesterday spoke out against the violence, about the people that are burning buildings, the people that are attacking police officers. Joe Biden called that out yesterday, as he should. He was willing to do that, and he better, and he did. And we need someone that's going to call out both situations, police brutality, the rioters, the violence. And I thought Joe Biden answered that question appropriately, JD. I'm not sure he could have answered it any better than the way he answered it. Do you disagree with anything he said about that answer?
Well, I mean, Steve Grammis came on our show, the leader of the president of the Las Vegas Police Protective Association, and he said the exact same thing. He said that there needs to be national protocols in place, universal protocols that every single police department follows. And that's one of the issues with the Minneapolis Police Department is the fact that they allowed those knee to neck chokeholds for so long.
Right, that's a policy change.
Right, yeah. So there should be what Steve Grammis said and what Joe Biden echoed is that there should be national universal policy. And I can't disagree with that.
But the question is, how do we get there? And I agree with what Joe Biden said. We need reasonable people on both sides to have a respectful conversation. Black leaders.
You still have leadership inside, within the police department. So you still have your police chiefs, you still have your mayors, you still have your city councils, and they're going to make those decisions. So you really, again, if you're going to have one downside to having universal policy is that It doesn't really work, or it's much harder to get to in a place like the United States, where, again, you have 50 states, you have leadership on the local level, the state level, and the federal level, and you have different people that make different decisions that affect everything else.
Okay, but what you just said, you need to add...
It's not, this isn't China, this is the United States.
I never said that, neither did Joe Biden. All I'm saying is, and I think we all need to understand this, is that black leaders need to come to the table and share their concerns with law enforcement as well. If you just have mayors and politicians there, that's not good enough. You need both sides. Now, police officers could say, listen, what do you want from us? But here's what we want. Let me just finish.
Do you mean like LeBron James? Or what do you mean by quote-unquote black
Let me
leaders?
just finish my thought, and then I'll answer your question. Okay, we need black leaders to the table for two different reasons. Number one, yes, to share their concerns with law enforcement. Here's what we would like to see happen here. How do we get there? But also, law enforcement can say, okay, here's what we need from you. We need you to do this, this, this. We need you to comply with us. You need both sides of the aisle. Now, I'm not especially talking about professional athletes or celebrities. What I am talking about are particular politicians that happen to be black, members of the NAACP, perhaps. I want people in the community that speak for minorities. Now, that could be a number of different people. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It doesn't have to be an athlete.
The problem with that is people like LeBron James actually make more sense because they have the ability to reach so many other people.
So I don't think it has to be a celebrity.
Well, you want someone with a major platform.
Sure.
Who when they say something, it resonates with their following.
Listen, I don't have a problem with LeBron James.
A leader of the NAACP will most likely have a very significantly less ability to touch a large amount of people than a LeBron James.
Listen, I don't have a problem with LeBron James.
Or like Mookie Betts, who Mookie Betts actually came out, who is he is the outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who has a good chance to win the NL MVP. But he came out 2 days ago. He was the first athlete to say to speak out against what happened to those LAPD officers when they were shot in their cruiser. And we need more of that. That's what a real superstar does.
I don't have a problem with celebrities or athletes, but I don't think you have to have a big social media Twitter platform in order to get things done and for people of color to share their opinions. That's my personal opinion. The point that Joe Biden is trying to make, which I think you understand and I agree with him, is that we need to start these conversations with some important people, whether that be policymakers or, like you said, whether it is a Mookie Betts. The problem is people need to come together and we need to share our grievances in a respectful way. Right now, I don't think we're doing that. We haven't had those types of conversations. And the point I've made over and over again on this show, and I don't care whether you're a Trump supporter or not. I don't care. You can't go on social media and post a black man committing a crime or pushing a white woman into a subway. That's not going to get us anywhere. In fact, that's going to make the situation worse. That's not leadership. And yes, I do believe Joe Biden would bring those people together and sit down at the table and have these types of conversations. Is he the end of all end? No, I'm not saying he's going to solve all of our problems. But I do agree with his sentiment yesterday at the CNN town hall. I do agree with what he said. We need to start the conversation. And you're right. Gramis, who came on our show, did say some similar things. I agree with both of them. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying Joe Biden copied what he said. I don't think Joe Biden knows who he is.
No, I'm not saying, no. I mean,
but they're both.
That, but I'm just not sure how that's going to work out in a country like the United States.
So what's the solution then?
That is built the way that the United States is, because again, you have police chiefs for a reason, you have city councils for a reason, you have mayors for a reason, you have leadership at all these different levels, and they're all given decisions.
We also have black leaders for a reason. We also have leaders that represent minorities for a reason. And there's nothing wrong with putting them all together in a room and having them talk.
And many police chiefs in Democratic cities are African American.
Okay, so I'm not going to use the term Republican or Democrat because I think that's completely academic to what Joe Biden was talking about.
Reality.
No, I'm not making this political. I'm being very logical, and I'm not playing games with Democrat, Republican.
How about this? A large amount of police chiefs in major cities are African American.
Okay, that doesn't change.
And major cities tend to be Democratic run.
There are also a lot of issues in, and again, you brought up Democrat again. I'm not bringing up Republican or Democrat because I'm not going to play political games when it comes to this issue. I don't think we should. I don't care whether a police chief is black or white. It doesn't change what Joe Biden said, and it doesn't change what I'm saying, and that is we need to get all these people in a room. We need to get all these people together in a room to have discussions about this sort of stuff. It's very important. It's very important. We got to get this stuff done. And how do we get it done? How? I think Joe Biden is right. And this idea that Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, is in his basement and he doesn't have the mental acuity and he's got Alzheimer's. Well, did you watch the town hall last night? Because he sat up there on a stage for 90 minutes, unscripted.